Hey there everyone, Samuel Lewis here from TSCN.TV, and as I promised, I figured I'd give you guys a little tour of the new studio setup. We made a lot of changes this time, so there's a lot to get into. So strap in and here we go. Okay guys, first I figured I would lean up against the wall here as far back as I could anyway, and give you guys an overlook of the entire place. As you can see, the bed's gone and the shelves on the wall and stuff like that, other than some over here that I'm keeping other things on. But the point is, this is now officially a full-time studio. It's no longer a living quarters as well, so we've been able to organize things a bit better, and for the better, I might add. It makes things a lot easier. Now, if we go over here with my chair over there, love that chair, but here is my console that I have set up. That way I can run all of the podcasting efforts from here. Before, the desk was over in that corner, excuse me, which meant that I had to turn around if I had any other people there. You can take a look at the old video, because I will put it on this post as well, because I want you guys to see how it's progressed. But with the new setup, I can now look at the Roland and everything while I'm there. The new setup, I have moved the mixer and the Roland here, which, like I said, the great thing about this is now I can actually look at the Roland while I'm recording, which was something I could not do before. Sure, I got around it, but it's nice to be able to keep an eye on the levels and everything while it's still going. As before, I have a new setup to it, which is this wireless keyboard and mouse, which I'll show you where the computer is in a second if you didn't see. Of course, I've got the soundboard set up, and I just recently figured out you could give colors to the soundboard, so the different intro themes for the different podcasts now have their own color, as well as all of the new things on the soundboard, because if you guys have been listening to Samcast lately, I have been adding to that soundboard to make it a proper soundboard setup. One other new piece of equipment I've got is this. It is an Art headphone preamp, and it allows me to both control the volume of everyone's headphones, but more importantly, everyone has headphones now. And the other great part about this piece of equipment, as I walk around here, is that if you look in the back of it here, and I'll zoom in on that, you'll notice that it has both the standard jacks for sort of your professional headphone things and the standard micro jacks. That means that also my friends can bring their own headphones if they're more comfortable with those, or if I don't happen to have enough. So, and in theory, if I used an adapter, since these things are wired in parallel to each other, I could have up to 8 pairs of headphones on this at once. I would never have that many people on a podcast, but say someone happens to be here that isn't part of the podcast, but I'm still doing a triple M, then they could still listen to the music, and that situation has come up before, so now it should be fixed. Now, while I'm on this other side, I'll go ahead and sit down here. As you can see, I have now got to where the co-host have a desk. Now, while this isn't as important for, say, Samcast or All About Sound, it is important for the one new podcast to the network, and that is God is Great. Mom and Dad like having Mom having her Bible over there and Dad having his Kindle over here, which has a Bible on it, obviously. So, they need this surface to put down any notes or anything like that they happen to have and want to access. So it gives them a great working surface for that, while still giving the area enough of a flexibility to where if you don't want to use the table, you don't have to use the table, but it does make things convenient. Now, meanwhile, as for the computer, the reason why I have a wireless keyboard and mouse is because it is plugged in over here. For now, this is the same laptop that I was using. You guys probably noticed that over there. That was a failed attempt that I had. Turns out it was an old one that didn't have enough memory for what I was working for. But my laptop does plenty well for that. I already showed you how I plug everything in to get it into the jack and everything, which is the same television that I had before, just now on a neat little shelf that Dad made for me. And the laptop just sticks in the way it always has. Now there is a neat wire management system that Dad has run through the place. I guess I can look at it from here and go through as you look at my shadow. Wires have now been connected to the sides of the walls with little eyelet things, I guess you could call them. But also all of the system setup is on the side of the desk now. This is actually attached. And the great thing is now this is my power switch for the entire setup. So whether I actually set it up with things, because most of my pieces of equipment do not have on and off switches. That's the interesting thing about the equipment. So this becomes the universal on and off switch. So everything in this room is running off of this. I turn this off, everything else turns off as well, which is a nice feature. So I can just reach around the desk and turn it off. As I said, most of the audio setup is exactly the same way it always has been with regards of how I'm running everything in, so I won't go back into that along with the 2 preamp and everything. You can take a look at the first video and it will show you all of the equipment in a bit more detail, although I never go into my settings because settings are obviously going to vary for different people. I've still got some posters on the wall, like my Good Eats poster and my Doctor Who and the Doctor Who clock up there. I'm the Doctor, basically run. So I've still got some little geeky touches to the room to still have it have that Samcast feel. Like I kept the TWIT certificate of appreciation for the brick along with the brick replica down there, which I'm thinking about putting beside the television, but that's just for now. For now, though, the room is officially remodeled, and I love the thing. I've got to say, Dad has done a brilliant job at figuring out how to wire everything with all those eyelets. That way the cords are out of the way. And it's definitely been a group effort. I cannot take credit for this. It has been a complete group effort between me, my mom, and Dad to make this into a proper studio setup. And I could not be happier. So, turning this around, and now I can see myself. But anyway, so that is the new studio setup. I promised you guys I'd give you a video, and so you have it with the Ghostbusters poster behind me. Nice framing there. But anyway, that's the new studio setup. So, there you go, guys. Find all the work at tscn.tv to hear all of this equipment in action, so to speak. And see you guys.